Are we live? No, it never tells me when we're live. Hello, hello. I think we are live. We are live. Welcome along, guys, to this video training. Yes, I am on my brand new treadmill. I've been wanting this bad boy for freaking ages. So ever since I have become a coach, I hate the idea of sitting at a desk all day and not being able to move while I'm working, because I've got a big hospitality background, right? So before I was a coach, I was in hospitality. So I've been on my feet all the time, moving around all the time. So as soon as I then had to go and sit at a desk, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, my back is seizing up. I feel like I don't have any mental clarity. Do you know what? I find it so easy to just fall asleep if I'm sat down at the laptop. My eyes just sink. So I have finally invested in a treadmill, which is really exciting, and been able to set up my desk. So welcome along to this exciting live. I can guarantee you, if you're watching this, then one of these are probably true. You're new here. You are spinning records and keep winding up back where you started. You're plateauing or stalling and or struggling to break through your number. So a lot of us have this number that we struggle to get past, whether it's like 10 kg weight loss, or whether it is 80 kgs and we just can't go under that. We're struggling to break through our number. Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed with all of the information that's out there. Whatever it is, I urge you to make use of the free coaching call that's offered to every single member of this group. Of course, spaces are extremely limited to my availability, and this offer will stop when the group growth gets a little bit too big. But for now, all I want you to do is just drop the word call below or in my DMs, and we can get you instant direction and a clear path to success. Now, it already does start, it all really starts with one simple action. So take action now and drop the word call in the comments below. We will get you some clarity and success. The reason why I started with this is because if you're here, there's definitely a wealth of information that you have absorbed at some stage and are struggling to put it together into actionable steps. Now, a lot of my new members haven't heard of the stuff that I talk about. A lot of my older members are just inundated with information now, between my page, between this group and other groups, between social media and the internet and TV and news. It can get really overwhelming. So what this is kind of like a back to basics, the fundamentals of weight loss. Whether you're plant-based or not, this video is going to help you get some clarity, drown out all the noise, and really start from scratch. Because often enough, if you're struggling to break through a specific number, if you're plateauing or stalling, I guarantee you, you've just forgotten about the basics and everything's gone out the window. And we're struggling to apply anything because we're trying to apply everything. And it's a pain in the ass. I get that. So this is what this video is for. Now, there are 4 fundamental pillars of health. I always talk about these. Let's say there's probably 5 fundamental pillars of health now. Essentially, if you have ticked all of these boxes, you are on the path to your ultimate health. Problem is if one of these is neglected, you're going to really struggle to lose weight. You're going to struggle to maintain a healthy weight. And you're probably going to be struggling in life with your health overall. So the 4 fundamental pillars of health are sleep, stress, movement, and nutrition. And I'm going to start adding in a 5th, which is water, because I think it is up there with one of the most underrated, undervalued elements of weight loss. Without water, your body is unable to process, digest, to heal, to fat burn. Your fat burning skills, powers are dramatically diminished when you are dehydrated. So water is a huge part of weight loss, not only just because it fills up a space in your belly, but it actually aids weight loss. And when we're dehydrated, that metabolic power is just diminished. Okay, so 4 fundamental pillars of health. And this is what I base all of my coaching sessions around. I always make sure that I cover with my clients: sleep, stress, movement, nutrition, and water. I want to ask, when you went to the doctors last, if you are unfortunate enough to have gone to the doctors to ask for help, when did they ask about your sleep? When did they ask about your stress? About how much you move? About what you eat? About how much water you drink? The problem is with the medical field at the moment, and I'm not poo-pooing doctors, I'm not poo-pooing professionals, because they have a place, and without them, we would be very stuck. But they do not have the capacity nor the time to ask you about your main habits in your life. Now, we all know that healthy habits are what leads you to easy weight loss, weight maintenance, a healthy weight, happiness, and optimum health. So why do they not ask these important and vital things? Well, like I said, they don't have the capacity or the time. So when I talk about the 4 fundamental pillars of health, this is basically the things that you can tick off if you are winning in every area of these aspects of your life. I guarantee you'll be able to stay away, touch wood, of course, from the doctors, from pills, from potions and lotions and injections, and you'll be able to remain healthy. So the 4 basics, or not the 4, but the basics of weight loss that I'm going to talk about today pretty much revolve around the 4 fundamental pillars of health. Of course, if you're eating well, if you're sleeping enough, if you're managing your stress, if you're moving your body, if you're drinking enough water, sure, you're going to live a really long and healthy lifestyle. But that's not necessarily the basic things to get you started. How do you actually implement that? How do you tick sleep as a fundamental pillar of health? What should you prioritize over one or the other? You know, with movement, for example, what movement should I be getting? Is that a basic in mixing up my workouts, or is it more the time that I spend? So I'm going to break it down a little bit for you and just give you what I would recommend to be some good quality basic habits to work on, and how you can stay on track as well. So the main thing that I want to talk about with the basics is going to be nutrition. So I'm probably going to leave that till last. But one of the 4 fundamental pillars, or 5 fundamental pillars of health, and part of my basics, is sleep. What we want to aim for is good quality and good quantity. If not, you lead to a whole host of health implications, and you're going to be struggling. You're going to be craving a lot of extra food. You're going to be very, very tired. And you would be surprised by the amount of people that come to me and say, Bianca, I need energy. I need more energy. What should I take? What should I eat? I'm like, have you looked at your sleep? When was the last time you got 7 to 9 hours worth of sleep? A lot of people go, oh, well, you know, I'm doing really well off of 5 or 6 hours sleep. My next question is, how well are you doing? Could you be doing better? Could you feel better? If you get less than 7 hours sleep, it is very dangerous. Your body needs to go through certain processes. It needs to clear out the metabolic junk that's built up in the brain. It needs to go through processes, and it needs long enough sleep to go through those, to heal the body, to digest food, to rest and replenish. Otherwise, you're just going to be chasing your tail for years and years and years until you sort this out. So I think my basic for sleep is to get 7 to 9 hours worth of sleep. Okay, there are so many other things that we can look at sleep. We can look at reducing technology. We can look at taking the right supplements or eating the right foods. We could look at exercise to improve sleep. We can look at so many elements of sleep. We can look at so many elements of all of the fundamental pillars. But the key ingredient here that I want you to focus on is just getting 7 to 9 hours. How are you going to do that? I want you to schedule it on your calendar. Literally on my calendar, I have my sleep block at 8 hours. Now, if I get home from work late, or if I've got a late shift at the restaurant, I'll move that. So I'm not always going to bed at the same time, but I'm always getting 8 hours sleep. So there's one thing that you can ensure is that you will struggle to lose weight without adequate sleep. So 7 to 9 is the ideal bliss point. You've just got to figure out what works for you, whether it's more on the 7 or more on the 9. And you know what? You're not going to find out until you commit to it for a few weeks to find out what is optimal for your body. I know with 7 hours sleep, I really, really struggle. Sometimes with 8 hours sleep, I struggle. I think my bliss point is 7.5, but I'm still working on finding out. So sleep as one of your basics, 7 to 9. Schedule it, tell your family, get it in the calendar, and know that that is your ultimate basic. You need that sleep. My second basic is water. Again, body processes, your fat burning power, everything about you needs water. We crave water. Water is in fruits, it is in vegetables, it is in legumes, it is in all of the things that we need. But we are not getting enough. We are severely dehydrated as human beings because we drink so much other crap, and we curb our we curb our desire and need for water with food, because often those messages are confused and they get redirected in the brain, and we think that we're hungry, but we're actually thirsty. We end up eating food instead. This is another key reason as to why it is very difficult to lose weight if you're not drinking enough water. If you have cravings, you're going to need to drink more water because, and do you know what? Talking about water makes me thirsty. If you have cravings, you're going to want to drink water. That's going to curb the cravings. Realistically, you're probably needing a little bit more hydration, more energy, more mental clarity. It's going to give you all of that. Now, of course, the daily amount kind of just varies. It differs between what's necessary and what's optimal for each person. It depends on the weather, the temperature, depends on the activity that you've done, the brain activity or physical activity. It really just depends. So let's not stick with you need this per body weight, because that's just very individual. You know, we would be here ages trying to work out what is optimal for every person. So what I want you to do is just focus on whatever you have, add an extra 200 to 300 ml a day. Now, not every single day, sorry. I want you to say, let's say that you drink 1 litre of water a day at the moment. We're going to add 200 to 300 milliliters of water. And we're going to stick at that for a week. Now we're at, let's say, 1200. We're going to add another 200, stick at that for a week. So just slowly and incrementally add your water. Guarantee you won't be getting to a point where you're drinking too much water. And we're looking at probably 2 to 3, maybe even up to 4 max. Not max, there's not really a max, but ideally 2 to 3 litres of water a day. This is 2.5. Sometimes I struggle to get through this. Guarantee you are dehydrated. So number 2 of my basics is really focus on water. Guys, the importance on water, the focus on water needs to be there, right? If you don't want to drink water, you're going to have to face the fact that you're not going to lose weight. Simple as that. Okay. People ask me, do caffeinated beverages count? I don't count caffeinated beverages. Some weight loss clients, some weight loss coaches will, but stuff like green tea and coffee, I think they take away from the essence of the water. Yes, it is still liquids, but they are diuretics. So I would always count anything that's like a cordial or squash base and water. Optimally water. I don't want you to be drinking all of that sugar, all of that sweetener with your water, because that is practically doing yourself a disjustice on your gut with all of the sugar and the sweetener. And that is going to abuse your gut and give you a lot of inflammation, cravings, and adding to that. So ideally, water. Herbal teas, again, fantastic. Let's focus on the third basic, right? And forget everything else. Forget worrying about technology, about using it, about blue light blocking glasses. Don't be worried about whether you're getting organic oats or non-organic oats. I don't want you to be panicking on whether you're doing the right activities, the right workouts. I don't want you to be focusing on all of this stuff, all of this noise. The 4 basics are here. If you are here watching this video, the 4 basics are going to be where you need to start and focus. So the third one is daily movement. Now, I don't care what that daily movement is, as long as you move your body. We are looking at 20 minutes minimum every single day. I guarantee you, you're probably not working your body enough. So I'm not going to give a maximum, just a minimum. Even like this, getting a walking pad or a treadmill indoors while you're watching TV is going to make such a difference. Since I've been on the call to you, supposedly, because I don't know how well it tracks, I've burnt 80 calories just by standing here and talking to you. That's 1,301 steps, although it's been on 1,301 steps since I looked at my watch. So, but we're looking at about a couple of hundred calories for an hour, right? That's going to make all the difference. You and I know that we don't talk about calories here, not because they're the demon or because everyone is obsessed with them, but just because they're a good piece of information, but we don't need to focus on that. I would rather you focus internally than externally. So if you're new here, there's an introduction. I don't always talk about calories. I do refer to them as a form of measurement. Now, if you are exerting more than you are consuming, you are naturally going to be in a deficit, which basically means that you're going to lose weight easier. But not only that, is the body craves movement. It was designed to move. We were not designed to stagnate. We were not designed to sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix, sit and increase our cortisol by watching TV and stuff that is stressful, looking at our phones and being sedentary, looking at our laptops and being sedentary and not doing anything. We're not designed for that. We're designed to move. Okay, we decrease dramatically many illnesses and diseases and increase our immunity, our fat burning power by just moving. You know the importance of movement. Why are you not getting more? Whether it's a 10-minute walk in addition to what you already do, whether you're going to go the long way home, whether you're going to get up in between your working blocks and get some movement in, whatever it is, get more. So again, let's not focus on whether it is resistance training or cardio training, whether it's walking uphill or on a flat. No questions needed. Just get more movement. Really, honestly, no questions needed on that one. Now, the 4th and 5th of my basics, I should have mentioned this at the start. They're going to be very, very, or they might be very different, especially if you're new here. And even if you're old school here, you might need a reminder on this. I'm going to start with your hunger and fullness. Now, there is a huge reason why most of us are overweight, and it's for the same reason, and it's because we eat Not because of what we eat, surprisingly enough, but it's because we eat when we're not hungry, and we don't stop when we've had enough. So what I mean by hungry is that physical sensation in your belly, the, oh my goodness, I'm definitely hungry. That physical hunger in your body is a calling design, and it's calling out for nourishment. It needs food, it needs calories, right? It needs energy. But what often happens is we override this, or we skip ahead and we go, oh, that smelled bloody good. Maybe I need a pie. Or, hey, should we go out for coffee and cake? Not listening to my hunger, but because we're going out for coffee and a catch up, then I need cake. Does this sound familiar at all? This is not honoring your hunger. This is starting to eat from external cues. Internal cues are stuff like belly rumbles, pain, emptiness in the belly. It's not from going, oh, that sounds or smells good. It's from the physical hunger. We need to eat when we're physically hungry. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we need to stop when we've had enough. Enough doesn't look like, oh, I'm so full, I need to unbutton my pants. That is too full. The problem with eating until too full is you've not given your brain and your gut time to connect. You've now expanded your belly and eaten way more than it needs, than it can consume. So no, it doesn't necessarily leave you fuller for longer, but what it does is just adds as excess calories. So you eat what you need, your body burns it efficiently, but anything on top of that often just gets sent straight to storage. So it's important to stop when we've had enough. What does enough feel like? I guarantee you, most of you watching this video do not know what enough feels like. And that is perfectly normal, because enough is usually when the plate is finished. Enough is usually when the family are all finished and we get up together. Enough is usually when the movie has finished, not when your internal cues have told you so. Now, it's okay because this is what society calls normal nowadays, but it's not okay that you know this information and then ignore it. Now you have this information, you have the responsibility to stop when you've had enough. Enough is usually around about 80% capacity. So just start practicing. Finish, leave a few bites behind before you finish your plate. Wait until you feel physically hungry to eat. It might mean that you skip a meal. It might mean that you don't have cake when you go and see your friend to catch up. But so what? It's not the end of the world. And if anything, you are learning a lesson about what your body is really trying to tell you all of this time, because your body has been screaming at you, but now it's screaming at you in a different way. It's information, it's weight gain, it's a low or high blood pressure, whatever it is, illness, disease, this is your body screaming enough is enough. So start listening to those early cues that your body has been trying to tell you all along. Hey, I'm hungry. Hey, I've had enough. It's going to take you a while to get used to it. Oh shit, it's going to be difficult. You're going to be like, oh, but there's one more bite left. I'm just going to finish that. And then I've had enough. You're going to convince yourself to no end that it's not quite enough and you need a little bit more. That, my friend, is emotional eating. That is a whole different ballgame. But if you can hone in to starting to eat when you're hungry and stopping when you've had enough, then I guarantee you can lose weight like that, because you're cutting out the biggest problem. It's going to be difficult, but don't overcomplicate it. Start when you're hungry, stop when you've had enough. Right then, folks, my fifth is the biggest one of all. My fifth basic here is to create a 24-hour plan. Why? What is it? So a 24-hour plan is essentially the plan that you're going to create on a daily basis of what you're going to eat for the day. That's it. So you wake up, you write down on a piece of paper, hey, I'm going to have this for breakfast, this for lunch, this is a snack, and this for dinner. This isn't a diet plan. This isn't an, I want to do really well today, so I'm going to put on the plan something that I'm not going to want to eat, or not enough for me, for my usual body, my usual body's needs. It's not about restricting. It's just about putting something on paper and committing to it. The more you do this, the more you're going to understand that you can commit to healthy things. You're changing your brain from the inside out. Once you start understanding what you put on your piece of paper, on your plan, you're going to be able to stick to, you can then start changing naturally, and it will flow naturally, what you're going to eat that day. Often my clients will start off with a chocolate bar after dinner, or Cocoa Pops for breakfast, right? And they think, oh yeah, but I can't put that on my plan because it's not healthy. I don't care whether it's healthy or not. To start off with, you just need to start practicing commitment to yourself. I'm going to eat Cocoa Pops tomorrow because I always eat them. So why wouldn't they be on the plan? That's cool. After a few months, what you want to put on the plan is going to change. But after a few months, you've practiced commitment to yourself. You know that you can do this. You know what feels good. So after you have shown to yourself that you can commit to healthier choices, you will then start creating healthier choices. And then the plan will feel simple and easy. And naturally, without any guidance, you'll start planning healthier foods and committing to them. The problem is we have lost our connection with ourselves, lost our trust in ourselves, and you need to build that up first. You need to work on your weight from the inside out. These are pretty much your main basics when it comes to weight loss. It's not always about the food that you eat. It's not always about being plant-based or not plant-based. But for weight loss specifically, it's about just getting the basics and the fundamentals in. You want to get enough sleep, enough water, enough movement. You want to stop binge eating or eating your emotions. And you want to start practicing the commitment to yourself and start working on your internal trust, and trust that your body can guide you to exactly what it needs. Now, the reason why, and this is a little caveat here for those of you that say that's not enough, it is enough. If you think that it's not enough, then you need to work on your problem with not enough. Now, the reason why you might be wondering why plant-based and whole food plant-based is a natural way to lose weight. Well, plant-based foods and whole food, specifically whole food plant-based foods, are usually high in fiber, low in calories, low in saturated fats, but high in nutrition, okay? Which makes them the most natural food in the world, because they basically just manufactured or created. They are not enhanced, hopefully. They're not enhanced. But if it grows, it is good for you. Get a variety of foods. Get all of those amino acids, all of those vitamins and minerals and nutrients. Don't demonize carbohydrates or fats. If it's a whole food, it's going to be healthy for you. So a whole food plant-based diet is really focused on high nutrition, low calories. Often whole food plant-based foods are great in volume, so they are big, they take up a lot of space, they take up a lot of chewing, they take up a lot of digestion, work and power, but they're often low in calories. Whereas if you take a cheeseburger, take a couple of bites, in just a couple of bites, you could consume, for the same amount of calories, so the same amount of energy that goes into your body, you could probably eat an entire bowl of food that's whole food plant-based. So whole food plant-based, once you adopt it properly, is a natural and easy way to lose weight, and it feels good, keeps you fuller for longer, And it doesn't mean that you have to go and purchase all of this crap and put chemicals and other rubbish like sweeteners and colorings and dyes into your body. Now, folks, if you're watching this all the way through, well done. I want you to just focus on the basics. Get your sleep, get your water, get your daily movement, listen to your hunger and your fullness, and commit to a 24-hour plan every single day. If you are struggling with this or the idea of this, I have something for you. It's called a habit tracker. This week on my personal profile, I've actually talked a lot about habit trackers and how they can be useful. The idea is that you put the habit on there that you want to take or that you want to implement, and then you tick it off if you've done it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The ticking it off creates a reward system in your head, and it stops you from trying to reward yourself with food, right? How many times have you said, oh, if I do well, I'm going to go out for pizza. If I do well, I'm going to go out for a wine or dessert. The problem is you're creating and encouraging a reward punishment system that involves food. The problem is we need to disconnect that because we're struggling with our relationship with food. So a habit tracker gives you that pleasure, the happiness, the joy, the excitement, that pride for ticking something off. Sounds crazy, but that's how the brain works. Hey, I'm not the one that created the brain. I'm not the one that created the science, but that's how it works. Habit tracker, the habit tracker that I have, that I give my clients, also has an option where you, or a bottom bit, where you can assess what happened this last week, how you can improve. There is a huge power in reviewing and creating an action step moving forward based on the results that you've had. It's not about evaluating how well you've done or how shit you might have done. It's about going, okay, this didn't happen. How am I going to make sure that it's going to happen next week? That is what creates progress. If you want the habit tracker, just simply comment tracker in the video below and I'll get that to you. Well done, folks. I'm so proud of you. If you're new here, don't forget to comment the word cool and you can get on your free coaching call to success. Until then, I will catch you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.